White dribbles, takes a three off a screen. No good. Wiggins for the rebound. 5 seconds to go to Poole. Poole crosses half court, fakes and fires from half court on the way. He got it! He hit it from half court! Poole walks away and says, yes, sir! I got this. Steph Curry goes over. Well done, young Padawan. Well done.
Now back to Willard and Dibs live from Chase Center for the NBA Draft.
What was your favorite Jordan Poole moment in his career with the Golden State Warriors?
Might have been that one.
That one?
I was here for it.
Money time! Money time!
One of those classic moments where you're trying to beat the rush to get to the concessionaire and or the bathroom. So you leave your seat, and before you fully leave Chase Center and get into the tunnel, you pause at the top of the stairs, and you look back, and you see Jordan Poole let fly, and yes, you watch it, and
splash.
And it's goosebumps, and it's like, yeah, Jordan. I love you, Jordan. I never doubted you, JP.
Yeah, exactly.
Been behind you the whole way.
I expected some of this. GSW Vera on our YouTube feed, and thank you to each and every one of you for watching. And we promised you PBJ earlier, and I'll show it to you right now. There it is. That is half of a PBJ sandwich. Apparently, that's the only PBJ that we're going to be getting.
That's fine.
In person. No, in all honesty, we kind of got to the point of matching schedules and getting to the point where we really want to continue to just talk to each and every one of you on a day like today and get your reaction about CP3 coming to the Warriors. But GSW Vera, when we throw out there, what was your favorite Jordan Poole moment? And she says, when he left.
Oh, that's not cool,
Well,
Vera.
no, but that's real.
That's not cool, though, bro.
But why is it not cool?
Because you're making it seem like he didn't have moments that were more worthy than his departure.
Okay, I hear you on that.
Vera, I'm sorry. That's whack.
You know what, though?
And I'm a guy who likes mean-spirited.
Yeah. Hang on, I got to call you out.
Call me out.
I got to call you out.
Dial it up, coach.
Because, see, this is my phone. This is my phone.
I see your phone.
See my phone on
Call
YouTube?
me.
You want to know what this phone does during Warrior games?
Oh, boy, here we go.
And not just you.
Here we go.
It's not just you.
Captain Show Thread.
Hey, Show Thread. Hey, all my San Mateo High School Bearcats, class of 93.
Yes, I said he was I didn't say he was unplayable.
Hey, Kyle Heidenreich, who's texting me right now.
Hey, Kyle Madsen.
Hey, all of my friends. Hey, every friend I have. All you do during Warrior games this year is blow this thing up with how you can't stand Jordan Poole.
He makes mistakes.
That's all you guys have done.
It doesn't mean that you can say, oh, the best memory is him leaving.
For 10 months, you have not let this thing take a minute off.
You do the same thing.
Yes, but I'm not being disingenuous because I'm sitting here telling you I wanted him to be traded.
I'm not being disingenuous either. All I'm saying is to say that the highlight is when he leaves Golden State, Vera.
If you're gonna,
that is mean-spirited, and that is short-sighted.
It's very Dibley-esque.
It's not, because game recognize game. And I am not the guy who, on your way out, I'm the guy who will bury you while you're here, and when you're gone, I will reflect on what you did well
not to your face.
And what you did wrong. Always to the face.
That's true. In the face. No, my point is this.
How dare you?
Don't use today to act like it was lovey-dovey with Jordan all year.
But don't use today like, oh, the best thing he ever did was leave.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Come on.
I would not say that. I think it was funny that she did. And if that's her favorite moment for Jordan Poole, then that's your favorite moment for Jordan Poole. But my point is, there's too much today of, oh my gosh, 20 points a game, young fella, up and coming. That's not what you said all year. We're here. We're here after every game talking to you. This phone wouldn't stop all year with all of the hair being yanked out of the side of your head because of things that Jordan Poole did on the court. Now all of a sudden that he got traded, they're idiots because Jordan Poole's up and coming? That's not what it felt like all year.
Oh, you're trying to paint me with that brush?
No,
and I don't know if you're doing that.
No, I just said about 87 names.
Yeah, and I would never be that person. And if I had $1 for every time I said, oh, Jordan while watching a Golden State Warrior game, I wouldn't have to work.
Now, man, come on.
Because
we did text a lot.
My Jordans were like, oh, Jordan. It's, Jordan.
You did come in that day with the point that ended up being Festus Ezeli's rise to stardom. You did come in with the point that Jordan Poole was not good enough to play in the fourth quarter.
And I stand behind it.
Okay, so then answer my question. What did they actually give up today?
They gave up a guy who is 20 points a game, but I don't think he's the kind of player that you absolutely need to win a championship. Now, would they have won their fourth chip without him? You could probably argue better no than you could yes, but in that Boston series, there were times where he was unplayable.
Yes.
You and I were doing shows together, and I came in the next morning and said, and that's where the show thread came from, because I actually said to you, and Kyle Madsen at the time, and Spadoni, when he was our technical director.
He's going to be our only Italian left as soon as DiVincenzo opts out. But anyway, go ahead.
That Giants guy doesn't deserve it.
Sclafani.
Good Lord. But I said he's unpoolable, meaning he's unplayable. So I'm the guy who's been saying that all along. So in terms of your question, I don't think they gave up that much.
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not saying you're saying anything else.
I don't even disagree with you.
I hear what you're saying.
Jordan Poole is a very good basketball player, but let's not act like he had a great year. Let's not act like you loved him all year, because you didn't. And I don't mean you, all of us. All of us. Okay? He gave away a game in Utah, and we ripped him. And he made Steph throw a mouthpiece. And I'm not blaming him for any punch, but I am going to say that I think Jordan Poole did not conduct himself as a great team player this year at times. I think Jordan is very poor at times in terms of decision making. I think all of these things are true, and I still think they're true. And he had relationship problems with key players. You add all that up, you got to trade that guy. So I just think that they gave up a little bit less than some people are saying today.
I agree with that. I do feel bad for all of the board ops, the technical producers at our station, because we lost a great one today. We lost the priest drop. You don't know Jordan Poole.
Oh, I don't think we lost that at all.
Well,
how often have we heard from James Wiseman since he got traded?
Hi, this is
still on the show every day. Thank you. Right. It's on the show every day. I mean, you don't think there's going to be a Jordan Poole watch in Washington next year?
I guess, but
every time he scores 30, somebody's going to call, you got rid of Jordan Poole. I know Washington lost by 23, but Jordan scored 30. Okay, great. Grandpa Daddy in Hayward. You're on with Willard and Dibs. Hey, Grandpa Daddy, what are you doing?
Oh, my God. I've been on the phone coming from Vallejo waiting to be on, and I love you guys, man. Dibs, Willard, you guys are cracking me up.
You know what, Grandpa Daddy? You crack us up. I want you to know that.
Hey, you know, I kind of lean more with Dibs because we both Grandpa Daddies. But you know what, Willard? You're spot on, too. Both of you guys are spot on, man, because this is about pragmatism. And I think it's more about, we don't know what they do inside they talked inside the locker room, the organization. He couldn't get past the punch. It's not going to be a cohesive unit in the locker room. And look, who would you rather keep? Draymond or Jordan Poole? If you got a chance, if you're trying to run it back, it's obvious. And you save millions of dollars, and you do got a veteran player, even though he's a flopper. Hey, Willard, I know, I agree with you. I know, I don't really like watching him, but you know what? He knows what he's doing, and you're right, Dibs. He can feed the ball to the youngsters, and I think they like Kuminga, bro. And I think Kuminga, hey, you get CP3 up there feeding the youngsters on the second crew, we got action, baby.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Grandpa Daddy. We got big-time action. We got action. Him feeding that second unit, just like I feed my 9-month-old.
We might have action.
Today's a Throwback Thursday today during Mashed Up Banana and Cereal Time. We got action.
We do.
And if he's healthy, and I know it's a bigger if than what you would want with Jordan Poole, your second unit got better today.
Okay. They got smarter.
I think the team got better today.
I think they got better, but there is some addition by subtraction in that opinion from me.
And I would agree with that because
yeah.
I've never been a huge Jordan Poole fan. I see the player that he can be, but I look at him and take the punch out of this, which is very difficult to do.
Yeah, I don't even think you have to. Like, that's part of it.
If you take the punch out of it, I don't know if his style of basketball fits with the way you're trying to do things.
That's fair, but it's also the relationships are what they are. There's nothing you can do to change it.
Yeah.
So Jordan Poole on the Warriors is a lesser version of himself than he will be somewhere else. You know, those of you who like feel bad for Jordan Poole today, this is a good day for Jordan too. This is a good day for Jordan. I think he needs a fresh start. I think this career needs to go somewhere else. And so maybe this is it. 888-957-9570. All right, before we continue with the phones, apparently Chris Paul, also known as CP3 by some of his banana boat friends, is in Winston-Salem promoting his new book, 61, and said this about a trade to the Warriors.
What is your reaction to being traded to Golden State today?
I'm excited. I ain't got that question I don't know how many times already, so I'm really excited.
You spoke with Steph, it sounds like, already, and how did that go?
It was good, yeah.
What do you think your role will be on that team?
To help us win games.
Okay. It's riveting stuff.
Yeah.
Well, here's what it does. While the rest of the world is going to be like, yep, can't speak on it, don't know if it's actually going to happen. We got weeks and weeks. Chris Paul is confirming that the trade is happening, but he's also confirming he's not going to give you any nuggets right now.
And Steph, though, talked to him. That's a nugget in terms of whether or not this deal is actually going to go through. He talked to Steph Curry, and, what's your role going to be? My role is going to be to help this team win games. Yeah, how about that? But what is he supposed to say? Well, Steve Kerr and I have spoken, and I'm going to be 27 minutes a night, coming in at the 4-minute mark, and there's no correct answer in June, really.
Well, yeah, there's not much he can say about it, and even if he could, I don't think he would. That probably all still needs to come together as well, and it'll evolve 13 times once the year starts too. Load management, injuries, as much as this, here's a visual for you. I don't know how often this will happen, but I guarantee you it'll happen at least a few times. Chase Center, crowd on their feet, opening introductions from Wake Forest in his 413th year.
Just 19.
Number 3, Chris Paul. And you Warrior fans have to cheer. How about it?
It's not hard. It's going to be more than that. That's pretty disingenuous.
I'm going to do a teen movie slow clap.
Crowd's going to go crazy for Chris Paul.
All right, Chris.
And you know what?
Let's go.
A lot of the Warrior fans don't remember him on the Clippers because a lot of these fans that are now here in Chase Center, they're new fans. And so these new fans, a lot of these fans, none of your kids were alive when Chris Paul debuted in the National Basketball Association.
That's true. That's true.
Think about it in those terms, because you've got a 17-year-old, and he
16,
wasn't.
Don't age him.
My fault.
Yeah.
Well, he drives and he's got a job. I always think of him as older, but that even speaks to my point even more. He was not alive when CP3 was a member of the New Orleans Jazz.
Hornets, yeah.
It's the New Orleans Hornets, right?
And how many jerseys has he worn, by the way?
This will be his 6th team.
Okay, Hornets, Thunder, Rockets.
if you count the Hornets as 2, because he was a part of the New Orleans, I guess he was New Orleans OKC.
OKC, yeah, I think it's just Hornets. New Orleans, OKC, Houston, Clippers,
Phoenix,
Suns,
and now the Warriors.
And now a Warriors. Unbelievable. I still am sitting here saying it out loud, and I can't believe it. I look at Tim at the end of every segment, and I'm like, Chris Paul's a freaking Warrior, and he laughs because I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe we're sitting inside Chase Center, and that's what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe it.
You're going to have to believe it, and it's going to become more and more believable as we get closer to the introductory press conference, which is coming in about 2.5 weeks. When this all gets finalized, you're going to have that. Now, we gave away a great contest to one person to be here when the Warriors introduced their new player taken today at number 19. I wonder if the Warriors don't take anybody at 19, if that winner then gets to show up for the Chris Paul introductory press conference.
That would be incorrect, Dibs.
Yeah.
Oh,
a voice
joining us live.
Wait a minute, ladies
They
and
will
gentlemen,
win
God.
2 tickets to a game this season if there's no press conference.
Okay, if there's no presser, they will get 2 tickets to a game.
Well, boss, while we have you here, is there a way that, and I'm thinking live on my feed as I like to do, but can we give away a bonus prize of somebody to be there when Chris Paul gets introduced in July?
Let's stick to the script, Dibs.
I know. Listen to this guy.
I got no.
Like there's no legal department at Odyssey that's listening to the show right now going, hey, buddy, how about a little bit less of the yappity yap right now?
How about
We're not allowed to just make gifts up on the fly here for people who've already won.
I'm saying in a separate contest.
Why don't you come host the show for a day with me and you can have a day off? How about that?
I got
We got 7 guys on hold. Let's go, guys.
All right, there we go.
Only 5. Come on, Coach. Good God.
That's true. That was disingenuous,
This
man.
guy.
Andre in Oakland.
Number 5.
Hey, Andre, thanks for calling. What are you doing?
I'm good. So I'm a Warrior fan, big time. I hated Chris Paul. I hated LeBron James. We usually hate people that give you competition, and they flop. They both flop. But if you size him up against Poole, in my opinion, Poole went from the pool party to the fool party, and I didn't really like how he ended it, and he turned the ball over so carelessly. And I believe you can get more out of Paul right now than you can get out of Poole. He even stopped shooting the free throws like he normally does. But I just feel like if you want a right now situation, I think Chris Paul would be a better option. And good luck to Poole. And hopefully, he does good wherever he goes. But we had a good year with him. But then after that, like I said, he went to the pool party, and I didn't like it. And it was very frustrating. So I understand that lady who said she didn't like him, and that was the best thing that ever happened when he left, because nobody needs that right now. We're trying to get a championship while we have Curry and the big three. And I think Paul could fit in and drop dimes, and he don't have to score as much because he can drop the dimes and make other people score. So, I didn't like the guy, but we'll warm up to it.
Well, if he plays well. Of course we will. Of course we will. Andre, thanks. There's something to be said when people earn a certain amount of credibility or a lot of credibility in their business, that you do allow them to have a say in who they work with. Take Kyle Shanahan, who I know had never even necessarily been a head coach, but he had a lot of NFL credibility. And they listened to him, and he said, I want John Lynch to be my general manager. I'd like to work with that guy. And the 49ers went, okay. And I would argue that things have gone pretty well since those two came in. I think there's an aspect of that going on here. Steph, Clay, and Draymond have earned the credibility within this organization to not have the only say, but a say in that we would rather keep doing this with Chris Paul than we would with Jordan Poole. That is only one aspect of this deal, but I think it's a big part of it.
I think it's a huge part of, and even if it wasn't Chris Paul, I think that the second part of that is where the veteran word comes in, where we would rather do it with any number of players as opposed to Jordan Poole. And you saw rare frustration last year from Steph and Clay. Draymond, you'd seen it before. He actually walked off in the middle of a possession because he was so frustrated, which Draymond Green doesn't normally do. So I do think the addition by subtraction notion is an actual thing. And now the fact that you are able to add in a real veteran player, somebody who can come in and drop dimes in your second unit, it's going to help you right away.
888-957-9570 is the number. NBA draft starting in 24 minutes. We're live at the Chase Center for the draft. So more news is coming with the Warriors one way or another later on tonight. JD and Charlie will be along at 6 o'clock here, also live at Chase. Take you all the way up till 10 o'clock at night with everything going on. Let's keep going with the calls here on Willard and Dibs. Jack in Walnut Creek is next up. Hey, Jack, what are you doing?
Hey, fellas. Just reacting to the news like everyone else. Initially, as a Warriors fan, I don't like it at all. Chris Paul, for a while there in some of those playoff series, was public enemy number one with those Rockets Western Conference Finals. But, trying to think of this from a more positive perspective since, it's happening and there's nothing we can do about it. So I want to hear what you guys think about this. This is obviously going to, means full buy-in from Chris Paul. But if we get him, coming off the bench and we have that veteran presence as now our kind of leader off the bench paired with, Kuminga, GP2, Looney, et cetera, that could be, a great, leader for the bench. He brings a ton of experience, and I guarantee you he's not making plays that make Steph throw his mouth guard. So obviously going to mean buy-in from him, but if that did happen and you see him as a bench leader, what do you guys think about that?
Well, Jack, I personally think that that's key to this whole thing, and that is one question that still needs to be and will be answered. I would think that the Warriors vetted this and had conversations with Chris and his agent with regard to how they see him. It's always hard, I think, for us to imagine big egos on big names suddenly having awareness of their surroundings. So, yeah, I got questions. I got questions about whether Chris Paul knows how to tuck his type A personality away a little bit. Does he realize that this is probably a bench role? Are we wrong? Is it not a bench role? I don't know what everybody's thinking.
I don't know how he starts for this team.
I don't either, but
I don't know how that makes sense in terms of
I don't either.
3 guards and Wiggins and Draymond.
We're not in charge. I agree with you, but I don't know what's been said. It's kind of like the conversation we've had about Sam Darnold. Why did Sam Darnold join the 49ers on day 1 of free agency? What did they tell him that made him say yes? You're definitely the backup quarterback. I don't know what they told him. I don't know what they've told Chris Paul. But I will agree that it is at least step 1 if Chris is ready to say that portion of my career, being a star, is over. Now I need to go be something lesser for the greater good.
Yeah, this is what I had thought all along when I had advocated for Chris Paul to become a Golden State Warrior. It's the very notion that he is at the end of his career and he's on the list of greatest players to never have won a championship. And that's not a list you want to be on. You're a great player, yes. You're at the end of your career and you want to win a championship. So you look at a spot where you can go and compete for a championship. And any of those spots where he would go, if he was a free agent, none of those spots would look at Chris Paul and say, you're going to be our one or you're going to be our star. So any place that he would have gone, I think he would have been looking at this kind of a role. He gets traded to Washington. He could have played out his career there, or he could have gone anywhere and just played out the string if he wanted to be a one. But my guess is that he wants to go somewhere where he can win. And when you do that, you've got to sublimate your ego. You may have to come off the bench for the first time in your career, and you're going to have to be a little bit of a different player than you had been before.
I don't think he was ever going to play in Washington, do you? I mean, Washington is in such a stripped-down mode that it
didn't feel like it. It felt like that was going to be a spot where they were going to buy him out at the worst, and then he could be a free agent.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington, they have given away everyone who matters on their team basically for nothing. I mean, they took pennies on the dollar. Maybe the best thing they got out of all of their moves, Porzingis, Beal, everything, maybe the best thing they got is Jordan Poole. I think right now in this moment I'd argue that it is. But it's actually kind of stunning. The Beal trade in and of itself for Paul was stunning, but I never felt like Chris Paul was going to put on a Wizards uniform and play there.
Right, but I'm sure Chris Paul had some say in where he was going to wind up in terms of, if Washington wanted to trade him to, Detroit, Chris Paul probably would have had an ability to say, I'm not going to Detroit.
Yeah, it's going to be a contender, right? Like the guy at that point in his career, he's going to want a contender, and only a contender is going to want him at that salary, I would imagine.
Yeah.